Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Game on Cloud9 here, and today I'm here to bring you guys a new Naruto manga 624 prediction. Now, here's the thing. This week's chapter of Naruto basically was just more or less a continuation of what we saw last week. I mean, it really was. And the reason why I said it is because we just saw more interactions between Hashirama and Madara growing up, basically, sparring, training together now. We see them growing closer and closer together, as the weeks go on in the flashback. Now, the thing is, I would say that we do actually get to hear them at least talk a little bit about the hidden leaf, or you see some foreshadowing of them coming up with the idea of the hidden leaf, since now they're talking about, one day we're going to find this place and it's going to be right here in this particular spot, and they're on top of this mountain or this hill, whatever you want to call it, and they're looking out in the distance. They say this is where our settlement will be, where shinobi and children, they'll be able to actually be children and not have to be out in the shinobi world and deal with all these crazy missions, and people be able to have fun and it'll be peaceful. And I have a feeling that that mountain they're sitting on obviously is the Hokage monument before the Hokage faces were actually placed upon that monument. So I'm obviously just waiting for them to confirm that, because I mean, I couldn't see if the village really is sitting right before them, then I couldn't imagine that being any formation. It really raised the question, well, where is the formation that they were sitting upon? So obviously it is the Hokage monument, hill or mountain or whatever you want to call it. Now, I didn't particularly, I don't know. I mean, I didn't care for some of their interactions with each other, but I mean, obviously it all had an importance in the end. Like the whole rock skipping deal had an importance, especially with messages, because towards the end of the chapter, obviously Tobirama and Hashirama's father, they find out what Hashirama's been doing. That he's been hanging out with Madara, and they didn't even know. I mean, well, I should say Hashirama. You could tell he probably had a feeling what Madara really was, but basically they caught on to the fact that he's an Uchiha, and they talked about how he's been able to kill like basically grown Senju people, and he's like top tier in his own clan already, and he's only a child. So they're telling Hashirama, hey, you know what? I want you to spy on him, and if he finds out you're spying him in the clan, then you got to kill him. So, Hashirama not wanting to do this, he's like, oh man, this is, really a disappointing thing for him. But, he has his own plan, and, he actually trusts Madara. And, we actually see later on, obviously, towards the end of the chapter, Madara trusts him too, because, I can't remember what his name is. I think his name was, Butsuma, or Butsuma Senju, I believe, something like that. He ends up, or I should say, just Hashirama's father. He ends up tailing along, and so does Tobirama, to actually, make sure Hashirama fulfills his duty as part of the Senju clan, making sure that he takes out Madara if he isn't able to get intel out of him with the entire clan if he finds out. And when him and Madara greet each other at their spot that they usually go to with the stream, and or you could say the stream, the river, whatever you want to call it, and they skip rocks. They skip rocks and they send messages to each other on the rocks saying "get away." So even Madara's father and Izuna had the same idea. And the chapter pretty much ends obviously with both of them jumping out there. Madara's father and Izuna, and Tobirama and Hashirama's father jumping out there, and them getting ready to confront each other and face off. Now, this chapter, I mean, as a whole, definitely, I enjoyed it. I mean, I've enjoyed most of the flashbacks, that we've been getting so far. I mean, I don't have any too big of an issues with it. And like, I mean, I think that it seems like so far that everything that's pretty much occurred in the flashback has some type of value, either developing the relationship and showing the friendship between Hashirama and Madara, or even the rock skipping guild that actually shows an importance in terms of sending messages to each other, and also serving as the foundation of how their rivalry got started. So definitely is also something that's important, because when I first saw the whole rock skipping thing, I actually thought it was whatever. I didn't really think it was going to be too big of a deal, but now we see that it actually is. And obviously now we're getting ready to see firsthand Senju and Uchiha facing off in combat. The whole Senju Uchiha versus thing, light, dark, yin yang thing going down. Now that the two clans we see they're getting ready to face off, so I'm definitely glad that probably, well, not next week, because after next week we won't, or I should say next week we're not getting a chapter. Just make sure everybody knows that it's the week after. We'll see Tobirama probably face off against Izuna, which I'm excited to see because I want to see what Izuna can do. Obviously, we're not gonna see the height of Tobirama's power right now because he's still just a kid, but still it'll be pretty nice to see what they were able to do as kids, see where their power stood in comparison to old, or I should say, like generations later to come, such as like Naruto's generation. Like, okay, how strong was Tobirama's generation compared with Naruto's generation when they first started being shinobi? I'm pretty sure, since they had to deal with war and all kinds of crazy stuff, they probably were the stronger generation, in my opinion, at least. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Tobirama fight against Izuna and seeing what Izuna has. I mean, he looks like a little mini Sasuke, so hopefully he can pull off some crazy jutsus. I don't think he has Manga Kill Sharingan at this point. He may have it at this point, who knows? But there's always that chance that he doesn't. And what I'm really interested in seeing in the first, I should say in the upcoming weeks, is how Hashirama and Madara end up becoming leaders of the clan, because they seem like they actually became leaders of the clan quite young. So I don't know if maybe their fathers just gave up the position, or if maybe they died off, or maybe in this battle they end up killing each other off. Who knows? I want to see what Madara's father is capable of. I'm hoping that they're actually pretty strong. I hope they're not just like I mean, since the Uchiha and Senju clans are supposed to be the most powerful clans, I want them to actually show off some pretty darn powerful like jutsu. Like, I want them to be at least like maybe Jonin level in terms of how powerful they are. And I know Jonin level now, like nowadays, doesn't really seem like that much, but I'll be satisfied if they at least look at like Jonin level, maybe like low Kage level in terms of how powerful they are. I mean, I don't want it to seem like they're really sucky. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I prefer low Kage level actually overall, but hopefully, they give us a good show, give us a good fight, show off, a little bit of maybe some secret Senju techniques, some secret Uchiha techniques, because I definitely think when the next chapter comes out, since Kishimoto did leave it off on this cliffhanger, we are going to get a pretty good battle between these two clans and seeing the interaction between Izuna and Tobirama. I have a feeling that Izuna and Tobirama more or less took more after their parents than probably like Madara and Hashirama. The only reason I say that is because I look at how, of course, both of them like standing right next to their father. You think about Tobirama in terms of his ideals. It seems like he kind of holds on to certain things in the past, like not trusting the Uchiha, and obviously when he becomes Okage, how he kind of puts them in the corner. So he probably holds on to a lot of his father's beliefs. Like since I guess you could say like since then, his interact like he probably held on a lot more than Hashirama is what I'm trying to say. Obviously, since we see Hashirama wants to have peace and all that, and Tobirama doesn't really seem like, even though maybe to some extent he did, he doesn't really seem like he's really set on that as much as Hashirama is. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. And we'll see how these battles come up in future chapters. Now, one thing I want to mention before I close this video out, I'm going to start doing ratings, like actual ratings. I came up with how I want to do these ratings now for these chapters, but I'm actually going to rate them off of Shinobi rank. So if it's a chapter that to me that's like, nah, I'm gonna say, man, this was an academy level chapter. Like this chapter needs to go back to the Shonen Jump office and be rewritten or redone. If a chapter is, okay, I'll say, all right, I give it the Guinea pass. I mean, it can get through it. I mean, I think it's all right. If it's, pretty good, I'd say Chunin. If it's, good, just overall good, I'd probably say it's about Jonin level. If it's, really good, I'd say Kage level. Extremely good, I'd say above Kage level. And if this chapter is just the most amazing thing ever, like, I mean, it's breaking records, then you better believe it's getting the Sage the Six Paths level. So, I mean, that's pretty much how I'm going to start rating stuff. As for this week's chapter of Naruto, I think I'm going to say this chapter was like Chunin level. And the reason for that is, overall, everything in it was pretty good, but there's no like thing to just make me feel like, oh yes, this was just the best thing ever. There were some parts that probably could have been cut down. There could have been a little bit more information shoved in there. It wasn't really any revealing things that happened in this week's chapter. So overall, yeah, I would just say this chapter gets a tuning level from me. Just let me know what you guys think. And also, do you like this new rating system I'm going to start doing by rating the chapters based on Shinobi rank? That's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to be out now, and pretty much, I guess I'll see you the week after next if all you do is watch my predictions. Otherwise, you'll probably see a few videos from me maybe next week or later on this week. But that's pretty much it. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later.